Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
I did a story not too long ago about a guy whose son was going to school in the Livonia school system in Michigan. And the police came to school one day and wanted to talk to his son. So they pulled him out of class and went down and interrogated him. And then later on, the kid goes home and tells his dad, by the way, Dad, at school today, I got interrogated by the police. And his father contacted the paper, made a little noise, and said, I think it's inappropriate for the police to go to a school, pull a kid out of class, and interrogate him without the parents even knowing about it. And so there was a lot of hubbub in the news about this. I did a video about it, and the man himself had sent me a note at the very beginning and said, hey, Steve, I'm a fan of your channel on YouTube. I wish you would talk about this because I think it's an important topic. And it's the kind of thing that I do talk about on this show. We talk a lot about police interactions, shall we say. So after all that happened, the Livonia public school system has decided to codify its procedures for police to interrogate students on campus. Susan Vila wrote this for hometownlife.com, and it appears that Livonia has decided to implement rules to make sure that parents know about the children being interrogated at school. Livonia school administrators will be more diligent about alerting parents before police begin questioning their children about non-school matters on Livonia public school property. And that's the point here, is this had nothing to do with a school incident. They could have gone to the kid's home in the afternoon or evening and talked to him there with the parents there. They chose not to. They pulled him out of class. District administrators have agreed to codify the proper procedure for cooperating with on-campus police investigations after a parent complained and lobbied school district leaders for an official policy that would guarantee parental notification when this happened. The quote here from the district spokesperson, since this issue addresses how situations involving police interviews with students take place, it is more appropriate to be codified as an administrative procedure. Our board policy already states that the district will work cooperatively with outside agencies, and this administrative procedure clarifies how this is to be carried out on our end. And one of the things that came to light during the first story was that the Michigan State Police have a policy that says if we're going to speak to a child, and we do that at school, when we know they're not with their parents because their parents ain't at school most of the time, we will notify their parents. So state police have got one policy, and Livonia has a different policy, and the school, of course, has its own policy. So now they're trying to get these people all on the same page. That spokesperson says that the new administrative procedure remains in draft form. It's likely to be published within the next 30 days, and at that point, somewhere down the road, it will become the official rules they've got to follow. The procedure focuses on keeping non-school related police interviews away from the school setting. If police pursue questioning, school administrators must be involved in interview requests, and if they allow police to proceed, the administrator will make a reasonable attempt to contact parents before the questions begin. The procedure is not applicable to school safety and emergency situations. So obviously, if something happens at school and there's something going down and the cops are called and the cops show up, that's a little different. Here's a situation where somebody in a neighborhood had complained about something that had happened, and somebody said, I think that kid might be involved. So the police said, oh, let's go to school and question him. And it had nothing to do with school, nothing to do with it. So this procedure was brought forth by district administration as a formal clarification of the intended procedures that were already in place. This administrative procedure will solidify that process, and our school administrators are being apprised that the process has been added as a formal administrative procedure. She added that the procedure was created collaboratively with the police department and is not intended to limit the ability of police to keep students and staff safe in the schools. And of course, they've always got to bring it back to, hey, think about the kids. The parent at the center of this, who requested the police after his son was interviewed by police at school without parental consent, was pleased with the outcome. His name is Johan. The major points I was pushing for were adopted. I'm pretty happy with the results. He said he learned of the interrogation related to a malicious destruction of property complaint after the fact. He said that he's been encouraged and moved by parents who have shared similar concerns and experiences, adding he is intent on getting more school districts to adopt administrative procedures similar to the Livonia Public Schools' new policy. And, this is the thing. A lot of people commented on the last video of mine and said, everyone knows that if the police are questioning you, you've got the right to remain silent and you can demand to speak to an attorney. Do kids know that? And at what age would a child actually know that and have the gumption to raise it when they're surrounded by adults? So the principal comes and gets you out of class, takes you to a room, there's some cops standing there, start firing questions at you. Do you think most children would have the wherewithal to say, I want to speak to an attorney? I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. And some kids would, yeah, but not most kids. Especially the younger you go, the less likely it becomes. The new administrative procedure will be added to about 600 pages that qualify as Board of Education policies and administrative procedures. The online document includes agreements to cooperate with other agencies and ways to handle all sorts of challenges, including threats of violence and suicidal behavior. So yeah, 600 pages of administrative procedures. The request that came to us is that we could codify how we handle situations, interactions between the police department and a student in our building. The board president said, really nothing has changed a whole lot. It's really just a matter of writing down what the process is so that everyone is very clear on it. If that's true, then it sounds like they broke the procedure when they interviewed this guy's kid. So it's unclear if that's true. Meanwhile, Livonia police would not respond and had not responded yet to January 12th request for comment on this situation. But I will tell you that I got a note from the man in the story, Johan. And he sent me a note and said, Steve, wanted to let you know as an update, here it is. And by the way, a huge number of your viewers contacted the school to express their displeasure. It was mentioned to me at a board meeting. People specifically mentioned to him that there's a guy on YouTube who did a video about this. He's an attorney from Michigan, and his viewers have let us know that there's a problem here. Johan continues, says, I doubt anything would have changed without their help. If you do a follow-up, please let your viewers know that they helped make this change possible, and I'm very grateful. One more time. A huge number of your viewers contacted the school to express their displeasure. It was mentioned to me at a board meeting. I doubt anything would have changed without their help. If you do a follow-up, please let your viewers know that they helped make this change possible, and I'm very grateful. And I have to tell you a couple things. I read that email, and it meant a lot to me for a bunch of reasons. A lot of times you'll see people who'll do a video and say, everybody, bombard this place with phone calls. Bombard this place with emails. I never did that, and I never do that. And the reason is that my goal here is I look for topics of interest that have to do with the law and so on, and that I think might interest my audience. And I do these videos, and I try to explain what's going on as best I can as an attorney, if that helps. And a lot of people tune in because they think that the stories and stuff I'm covering is going to interest them. However, I leave that up to you. My job here is I'm not trying to motivate you to go out and do anything. And there are topics that I talk about quite a bit. Civil asset forfeiture, problems with the police departments, okay? There's several running topics that I talk about. And I will occasionally say, if you don't like this law, contact your legislator, okay? But that's a different legislator for everybody out there, right? Across the country. So the idea that a bunch of my viewers got together, well, actually, a bunch of my viewers acting on their own contacted people at the school board and said, here's something you need to know about, and I think you should work on this. And I learned about this from a video by Steve Lehto. And that is interesting to me for a couple reasons, one of which is that enough people did it that it made an impact and that they knew where the motivation had come from. But also, there's no mention of anything about it being inappropriate. And for that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. The last thing I would ever want to have happen would be for someone to contact me and say, Steve, I'm on a school board, I'm on a city council, I'm a legislator, and I'm getting these really, really rude interactions from people who say that you put them up to it. That's my nightmare. I don't want anyone out there ever thinking, oh, Steve Lehto is agitating people and getting them to do bad stuff. So the fact that some people were inspired by my video means a lot to me. And the fact that they were inspired to politely comments to these people and let them know their thoughts impresses me. And for that, I do thank you. I thank you. So if you contacted anybody via email, phone call, whatever you did, remember, you did that and you got something to happen. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I've gotten a few other notes in the last few years. Sometime I'll tell you some more stories about this, where people have said, hey, Steve, I showed your video to somebody and they did something as a result. And I've got a couple stories like that. But here it is that people at a school board meeting pulled this guy aside and said, by the way, let you know that there's a guy who makes videos on YouTube and his viewers contacted us and actually helped push this in the right direction. And so the man at the center of the story, Johan Kaywood, said specifically to me that he wanted me to thank you for that. And I want to thank you for that. Because like I said, I didn't do the video and then tell people, go out there and do anything as a result. I was simply explaining the story and saying what the ramifications were and, food for thought. And if you want to follow up on stuff I do, feel free. And I do get emails from people from time to time who say, Steve, I watched your video the other day. I got so upset by it. I sent an email to this person and I'm going to CC you on it. And I get the CC and I read it and go, okay, it's interesting. And I do get those as well. But it was kind of neat for this to come back in this way. So Johan thanks you and I thank you. And I'm very, very proud of you because the comment is in essence saying your viewers got involved in the right way. They accomplished something. And the man at the center of the story says, and he wants to thank you as a result. Not thank me, thank you. So there you go. Livonia Public School codifies procedures for police to interrogate students on campus. Susan Vila wrote that for the hometownlife.com. And Johan sent it to me. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law.
Housework is something you do that nobody notices until you don't do it.